Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Nick Talks. And today we're here with a good old Friday update. Been a minute, but we're gonna jump in. We're gonna ignore the passage of time. So, been doing good, man. Been doing good. I've been focusing a lot of energy on just trying to chill out because the early, I would say from about 14 to 18, maybe 14 to 19. I made a lot of discoveries that still to this day I'm trying to learn from that young man. He did a lot of good stuff that I don't often give him credit for. Made a lot of mistakes too, but there's a lot of juice in there that can be siphoned from that tank and ported into the present. And one of the juiciest is just this carefree mindset. And I think that I maybe took it too far when I was young, but even now, I think that, worrying is not a useful practice, and it's something that I've fallen too far into as of late. Worrying, there's endless things to worry about, but I don't think that the act of worrying actually brings you any closer to the fix of the problem, right? So I've been really paying attention to where my mind goes and just relaxing a little bit and taking things seriously enough to get things done. But it's okay, man. Like, if I'm not making enough money right now, just figure it out and don't sit and cry all the time and worry about what could be or what was or what should be. And that's been pretty key to just relax a little bit. And as it was then and is still currently now, it is sort of off-putting to the people around me sometimes when it seems like things are in the shitter. And I'm just like, it'll be fine. But it always is. It's always fine in the end, as long as the actions are taken. There's no point in being overly concerned with what's happening. Be concerned, but don't be rocking back and forth, because it gets you nowhere, as the man himself said. But other than that, dude, gym's going great. We're pretty much almost back to, I think I'm hovering at like 193 right now, weight-wise. So we're almost back to where we were, which is great. I think that I've officially learned my lesson and am done taking breaks for the foreseeable future. It was just some sort of mental flaw that I had where I was just like, oh, things are going great. Might as well just not do anything. Just chill out and ruin my progress. But I think we're done with that. Hopefully that lesson has been hard learned. But so we're going to keep pushing towards the gym. Reading is in full force. Sometimes I feel like I'm just doing it for the benefit of doing it instead of actually enjoying the reading. I'm reading Game of Thrones, Peter Attia's book, and actually I just had my copy of Man and His Symbols sent back to me, so I'll have to pick that up again too. But yeah, that's pretty freaking key. Pretty key to just be a reader. Man, there's so much knowledge that, although can be presented in podcast form, which is much more easily digestible and doesn't take the same attention, there's no substitute for reading a book and reading as many books as possible. Plus, I gotta build this shelf up here, dude. It's not as hefty as I would like it to be. But other than that, I think that I've fully gotten used to the new city now. It was very difficult at first. Maybe not difficult, but just weird coming from Miami to here. And I may even do a video on the differences between Miami and Cape, because they are stark. And it was a bit like coming back from a war and stepping into a nursing home, and there's just nothing going on. And people are normal and nice and casual. And although everyone may be a pussy in the sense that like nobody's going to fight me, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's not necessarily beneficial or advantageous to constantly be in an environment where you have to be big dog all the time. Still something that should be worked on, but not for necessity, I don't think. It does not for a happy boy or whatever they say. Not for a little boy a Merry Christmas make. So, but now I'm settled in and I'm relaxing a little bit, and I continuously feel stress just falling off, and that's nice. It's nice to just kind sit back in the seat of life and just be able to think about what I want to do and where I want to go and what I want to be, instead of constantly worrying about how to get to the next day. Excuse me, get to the next day. So that's pretty key. Um, Diet is as it has been. I eat the same thing like every single day, so that's pretty nice. Something else that I've been really trying to focus on is not only freedom of thought, but acceptance of opposition. And I found this many times in the past where it was genuinely frustrating to an extreme degree when people would just have wrong opinions, dude. Like, hey, you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's dumb as shit. But in the past, it always like just fucking annoyed the piss out of me, dude. It was like, you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you can't be persuaded that you're wrong, there's something wrong with you, and I'm angry about it. But that's not like useful at all. And I'm slowly learning to be just more accepting of people when they're wrong, and I don't have to have the argument every time. The fight doesn't need to be fought. I choose your battles, and that's something that has given me some more freedom. Now, to what extent do we employ that? I don't know. Because sometimes it's like, even close friends of mine are doing things that I'm like, dude, that is appalling that you live this way. But it's like, do I, at what time do I step in? I'm not the all-seeing teacher. I'm not the Messiah here that is supposed to lead everyone out of where they are. The best I can do is just lead by example and live a good life and hope that influences people positively. But sometimes that's easier said than done, dude. Sometimes I'm like, dude, I just want to, like, I know the answer. Like, you're telling me this problem, and the answer is not only obvious, but extremely obvious and silly that you don't recognize it. Now, from where I'm sitting, obviously, it's easier to see in the log in someone else's eye than what's in yours, or the speck in someone else's eye than the log in your own. But, let people live their lives to the most, or for the most part. But that's something that, I have yet to figure out. Also, still active on the mind is the social aspect. And, I had to release one of my longest and greatest friends in the last couple of years. And it undoubtedly was the right thing to do. And I don't regret that decision at all. But, I think about it less than I used to. And it doesn't really bother me emotionally anymore, but it's still something to think about. And when I watch, I've been watching Matt and Shane's secret podcast, Shane Gillis and Matt McCusker, comedians. And watching them go back and forth, I remember how great it is to have a long-term friend that you can go back and forth with that just is truly on the same page. And even though you may disagree, the acceptance is always there. And I find that lacking nowadays. And of course, I have friends that are very far away, so that makes it difficult to communicate sometimes. But I don't think that there is any substitute for the hangout, dude. The hangout with the bros, man, and just really chilling with a buddy, just shooting the shit. I think that is, I recognize more and more it seems to be like an innate human need for that kind of social experience. But I don't know. So I had a conversation recently about this exactly, and talking about how much of a bummer it is that I don't have like great friends anymore. Like I have the few friends that have really stuck around, and they'll always be friends and they'll always be great friends, and to some extent they're more like brothers than friends. But as I said, they're far away, so the hangout isn't really there. And the person I was talking to was telling me that it seems as though I close myself off and that I'm not open enough to new experiences, and I have my standards set too high. And I thought about it, and I said, I disagree. I think, all I want from friendships is to inspire and be inspired. And although we can have great fun hanging out and chilling, I want to see the fire. I want to see the pursuit. It's just like like when you're a kid and you're just talking to your friends about like, dude, I want to be rich and I want this and I want to make something out of my life, and it's like very real for you. That seems to wane as age or time passes and we age. And I don't think that that's too much to ask for a social circle to be just like, you don't have to be a millionaire, dog. You don't have to be on top of the world, but at least be pushing for it. At least be working towards the future every day. That's what I want. And I want to be in a circle where that's the case. And if I have to be unhappy with my level of socialization until I encounter people like that, then so be it. I will not lower my standards just so that I have some buddies to hang out with, even though they don't push me towards better. If I'm not being inspired or pushed by the people around me to do better and become a better person and learn more and be smarter and faster and wittier and all these things, there's no point. I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting theirs. And you are the sum of the five or so people you hang out with most, and I refuse to be brought down by bums. Man, I refuse to, everyone has their own merit, but it doesn't mean that I have to include them deeply in my life. And the average person, the average person that I interact with is in no way anything that I want to be. In any way. There is nothing about the lives of normal people that I see and talk to and do things with that brings me closer to what I want. And that doesn't mean, oh, shame on them, I should hate them. No, not at all. Not at all. But it does mean that there's a top end limit of how close we're going to get, just because I don't see that. And the people that I've actually connected with in the last few years, as few as they may be, were people who shared those traits, who were, at least you could feel the heat of their passion towards what they wanted out of life. And I respect that. And that gets me fired up, and me getting fired up gets them fired up. So, I don't think that's too much to ask. And I'm not going to settle for anybody just because, it's the same with a relationship. It's like when people tell you like, oh, you need a girl, you need a person in your life, you need a partner. And it's like, I'm not going to rush into a relationship just to have a relationship. It is much more meaningful for me to wait and be single and isolated and meet the right person than it is to just fill that gap in my life and then call it what it is. So we're waiting, baby. We're waiting. I have yet to meet those people. And actually, extending on that conversation, it is seemingly obvious to me that myself and my partner have risen above in terms of understanding and skill and mindset, risen above the lower end distribution of the population. Imagining the bell curve, right? We are now like mid-level, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. However, I am not successful enough. I have not created enough. I have not become enough to have access to the circles that I would thrive in or be inspired by. And so I'm in a limbo space where, I may be doing more and understand more and be smarter than the average dog, but I am not at the level that I could be talking to, any of the people that inspire me on the internets. And so here we stay, and here we wait. And until I achieve escape velocity, there is no solution short term that can alleviate this problem. So yeah, man. So yeah. Also, to cap this off, I'm thinking about doing movie reviews, dude. I'm a bit torn because obviously I love movies. I love watching movies and understanding them and talking about them and really breaking them down as to what's good writing and what's bad writing. And I have a lot to say. I got a lot of shit. Nick talks, bro. I got never-ending amounts of talking to do, especially about movies. I'm very passionate about that. However, so I have that on the pro, other pro, bring more viewers, other pro, like I get to express myself differently because in the Wednesday Wisdoms, I'm a little bit informative rather than expressive, and maybe that can change, but we'll see. So I think it would give me an opportunity to delve into things that I like more casually and be a little bit more laid back. And it seems like a good thing. And what's the worst that could happen? But then on the other hand, it's like, am I diluting my brand by poking too many critters, by going after too many threads? Is it weird? The way that I likened it somewhat to if I was a company that sold mattresses, and then the same company that I run also I decided to sell coffee mugs. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of not really the same business, and it doesn't really make sense to have them both on the same web page, whereas I could just have two different web pages. But then, do I start a second channel? No, that makes no sense. I'm not going to maintain two things. This is a channel, meaning that there could be many different types of shows on the same channel, but, it's a tough call, but that's what is on the brain, baby. So that's what we're doing. But with that, I will leave you a good little peachy Friday update. Keep it rolling. This is as much for me, probably more for me than it is for you, but nonetheless, it's out there. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and that, Nick out, is it.